Sam Davidson here for MEA Worldwide at the world premiere of the Anthem of a Teenage Prophet here in Hollywood, California. We're going to be talking to all of the stars of this awesome new movie, so please stay tuned. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So what is it about this story in this movie that really brought you into the story?
When the producers, Kim and Tina, brought me the script, I was actually going through a very challenging time, like we do in life, and there were parts of Luke that I could really relate to, and I just could see the film as soon as I read it and knew that it was something that I wanted to bring to life.
How does it really capture the teenage essence, but also, relate to people that are a bit of an older generation?
Well, for me, I'm a bit of the older generation, so it reminded me immediately of my youth, and I think for all of us, we go through high school, and it's a very important time because you're going through so many changes and so many emotions, and it's really an emotional roller coaster, and we remember the good times and we remember the bad times. There's a lot that happens during those years. So, I hope that for young people, they're able to relate to it and in a fun way, but also if they're going through a challenging time, for this film to remind them that this too shall pass and things are going to get better.
Tell me how this film is kind of a step in a direction you want to go with your career.
It really is an amazing step. I was so drawn to the script, and I feel like it is such a beautiful project, and it's telling such an important story, and I feel like that is more the direction I want to go, just feeling like I've made an impact on people for the better, and I feel like this movie really does that. So,
how do you feel like it's truly different than the stuff you've done before as far as substance and storyline?
I feel like before I've done things mostly for a younger audience. I worked out with Disney for a bit, and I did mostly like young adult shows, and that's amazing, and I'm so glad that we can entertain them, because parents constantly come up to me and say, thank you so much for creating something that can entertain children that is safe and like a safe place for all of us to go, and that makes me really happy. But I also feel like this is something that is so passionate to my heart now where I am in my life, so I'm really grateful for it, and I just want to keep going this way and not feeling like I need to do anything insane to break out of it, but just telling good stories.
First of all, I know you've been very involved in the film and invested. What was it about this project that really spoke to you that you kind of wanted to take a step further than just being an actor in it?
Well, the film is based off of a novel by Joanne Proulx that I thought was wonderful, and I talked to the director, Robin Hayes, about it pretty early on in the process. Our producers, Kim and Tina, have had this project for a long time and been trying to find the right home for it. They found Robin, and then shortly after I jumped on. And it was with the conversation with Robin that I felt that we both had a lot in common in how we viewed our teenage years and some of the stuff that we went through. And we just really wanted to show an honest depiction of what it means to be a teenager and what it means to come of age. And we wanted to show something that was a little bit dirty, gritty, rough and tumble. It wasn't like that polished stuff that you see a lot of times manufactured for teens. And that some of that stuff is great, and that's great that they do that. But we wanted to show something that was a little bit, it's heavier and harder and more challenging for the audience. So we thought that it would be nice to have a movie that didn't talk down to kids, but it was about kids. And so that's why we made this.
Well, I'm about to see the film. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the trailers and read up on it, and it reminded me of your character in Shameless 2 seasons ago when you, in a way, were like a prophet. You were going around in the church and everything and, professing who you were and helping people. Did you find any connections in those 2 roles at all?
I wouldn't necessarily say with that bit, simply because I think Luke doesn't get much recognition for being a prophet, and he really, really doesn't want it. Ian kind of sank into it a little bit and indulged in some parts of it, and he became very popular from it. That's something a little bit different between Luke and Ian. I think ultimately, Ian and Luke both have a certain level of sensitivity to them that I think that kind of shines through with the characters. They're both young men who are experiencing a lot thrust upon them and are trying to find themselves and express themselves at the same time. I think that's something that we all can relate to a certain extent, and I wanted to put parts of myself, my own experience, into both of these characters, and hopefully to every character I play.
So what is it that really drew you to the project and that you resonated with as a once teenager yourself?
I grew up in the 90s. So a lot of the songs that were referenced in the film, I grew up listening to. A lot of the soundtrack, like Far Side, is what I listened to as a kid. but it also sort of captures that sort of angsty feeling that we all have as teenagers growing up when we're trying to find ourselves as an adult. So it really speaks to that nicely. It's a beautiful film.
I don't know if you would call it supernatural or what have you as far as the premise that, you know, he has premonitions, but do you think it uniquely ties into the story in a way that's a combination of a teen film but also a different type of film?
Yeah, I think so. I think that when you have a sort of magical realism element to a story like that, it really serves to tell the story it helps people see it in a way that doesn't feel like it's their own life. So when you have something that is that way, you're more likely to see it and not judge that character and what they're going through, but maybe take something from it, you know? But at the same time, I really feel like people are going to see themselves and their journey as going through the teenage years.
The prophet of death is keeping all his predictions to himself.
I think you guys had a deeper connection that's extended further than we understand.
You didn't bring us together. You're just hanging out with me because you're sad and lonely.
You've seen those nature videos where the cameraman gets too close to the mama and her cub?
I knew it was gonna happen. Every detail of it.
Don't know what I'm waiting for.